Hi, I'm Kaylee, and today we are doing the fifth and final section of the Your Best Reading Life workbook. I have developed a 15-page workbook that will help you to live your best reading life. This workbook is available for free on my website at booksformks.com. It's a PDF file that you can print out and you can do all the journal prompts and the activities and check off the lists and do all of this fantastic workbook together with us. So here we are at the end. We have gone through all the emotional work of figuring out our reading story and our reading identity and what are the obstacles that face us as we try to develop a reading habit. And we've finally set our goals of what reading we want to accomplish. And now this is the place where it all falls apart. Am I right? You've got the best intentions, the best plans set in place, and it all just falls apart and you don't do the stuff that you said you were gonna do. Well, hopefully some of the tools that you'll see in this workbook will help you to stay on track with those goals and stay motivated with your reading. So first, let's talk about tracking your reading and organizing a way to keep track of the books that you're reading. So one way would be to just keep a reading journal, just writing in what you've read and what goals you've accomplished. Another great way would be to just keep a chart where you write down how many pages you read each day. So you have a goal to read 20 pages each day. So you just check off on your little chart, you know. One of my favorite ways is to make a list of to-be-read books, and then I get to check off each book as I read it. Of course, you could join the Goodreads challenge. So you challenge yourself to read a certain amount each year, and then you can really keep track of all of your reading on Goodreads, which is something that I definitely do. There are a lot of reading apps, though. There's Bookly. There's plenty of different reading apps, if you don't like Goodreads, where you can keep track of your reading. Maybe your reading goal is more time-centered, so you don't want to track how many pages you read each day. You want to track how much time you spent reading each day. So you could say, I'm going to read for 20 minutes every day, and set yourself a little timer and check off on a chart, I did my 20 minutes. One thing that I like to do when I have a specific book that I want to have finished by this date is I'll just have a calendar of how many pages I need to read of this book every day in order to have it finished by the end of December or whenever it is that I'm trying to have it finished by. And then I can check off the days until that book is done. So there's a lot of great ways to track your reading, to keep track of your reading goals, to track the time it takes or the pages or whatever it is. And that can really be a great visual to help you see where you are in your reading journey. And then if you start falling behind, you're like, oh no, I have to catch up. For me, having a chart or a list of some kind is very motivating. I love checking things off that list. However, some people you might be like, list, who cares? So there are other ways, of course, that you can keep yourself motivated. One of the best ways to stay motivated with your reading goals is to connect with other readers. Of course, that is fantastic online, on social media, on BookTube. You could listen to some sort of bookish podcast to get you inspired and motivated. Of course, you could join a book club, either online or in person, or some sort of reading group. You could do a buddy read with another reader or join a readathon. There are tons of great readathons online where people band together and read together. Another great way to stay motivated is to reward yourself. You could say that for every book you read, you'll give yourself $5 towards some special purchase or some special thing that you want to do. Reward yourself with screen time when you read. So you could say, I've read for 20 minutes, so now I can go and look at social media. Now I can watch TV or watch a movie or whatever. Because I did my reading, now I will reward myself with screen time. Or maybe your reward is something as simple as a new bookmark or just some sort of activity or treat that you really love. Another great thing to help yourself stay motivated is don't force yourself to read books that you are not enjoying. Just DNF the book. Just let go of because forcing yourself to read something that is not enjoyable, you're just gonna kill your motivation. Another thing that will kill your enjoyment of reading is comparing yourself to other readers. Don't do it. Do not compare your reading goals to other people's reading goals. Your reading is your reading. It is not anyone else's. It's yours. You do you. There are tons of fantastic ways to stay motivated. You could reread an old favorite book. You could take a book or an e-reader with you everywhere you go. You can rearrange all your bookshelves and just move things around, and that'll get you excited about reading some of them. Or even, dare I say it, you could go through your bookshelves and get rid of some books that are no longer bringing you joy. If these are books that just don't appeal to you anymore, they're just sitting on your shelves, like staring at you, making you feel guilty, then just get rid of them. You don't need that in your life. And getting rid of books that do not appeal to you anymore makes room in your life for books that you will enjoy. So we're gonna pause the video here for just a minute so you can write down some ways that you are gonna keep track of your reading, just a system that you think will really work for you and help you to stay motivated. Section of our workbook is the follow-up. After a few weeks, when the novelty of your reading resolutions has worn off and now it starts to be just more like work, you might want to do a follow-up assessment of how your reading habits and your action plan is working for you. Have you reached a few milestones? Are you kind of have that first little bit of your goals completed? Are you on track or are you falling behind a little bit? And especially look at what is working really well in your action plan and what is not working. What is playing to your strengths and what is kind of still an obstacle that we need to overcome. For example, you may have set yourself a goal that you're going to read for 20 minutes before bed every night. But now that you're doing it, you're finding that you just can't concentrate on your reading because you're too sleepy at the end of the day, and you're just reading the same paragraph over and over again. Or maybe you're so excited at your fast-paced action book that you're staying up way past your bedtime and you're not sleeping well because you get so excited about reading your book. So a good solution there would be to tweak your plan, find another time of day that you can set aside for reading. Sometime when you're more alert and you won't disturb your sleep schedule. So there are several examples in our workbook of ways that you can assess your reading and figure out what are some problem areas that we can change. And we're gonna go ahead and pause the video now so that you can write down what are some things that are working really, really well and how can you take advantage of that reading momentum. And we're gonna write down what is not quite working and how can we tweak that and change that a little bit so that we can find some better reading habits and a little bit better of an action plan. Might find as you're doing this assessment of your action plan and of your reading goals is that there are these kind of, not really an obstacle, but just a minor hiccup, just an extra step that you have to go through when you're trying to sit down and read. So this might be something like the next time you want to read something, you have to go hunt on your shelves and try to find the book, and it's not where you thought it was, and then you have to find a bookmark, and it's just this whole extra step. Somehow, even a tiny little thing like that can stop you from reading. So you could eliminate that extra step by having the book already placed on your favorite reading chair or already right next to your bed where you already know where it is. It already has a bookmark ready to go in it so that you're ready for your next read. You just want to eliminate any extra steps that there are that might hinder or make it seem like there's an obstacle there when there's really not. So we're going to pause again so that you can stop and brainstorm some new ways to get rid of any extra steps. My final advice for you all is to keep your reading goals flexible. What worked for you last year might not work this year, or what worked for this particular book might not be the right thing for this other book. What helped you stay on track with that in-person book club might not work with an online reading group. The truth is, you might not reach that reading goal. You might not finish that book before that deadline that you set for yourself. And you know, so what? So what? Just read that book next year instead. As long as you keep reading something, sometime, you are already winning. As long as you enjoy what you are reading, you are living your best reading life. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what were some of your brainstorm ideas about how to eliminate extra steps in your reading habit. I would love to hear some of the ideas that you've come up with. I hope that you've enjoyed this workbook and that you've enjoyed doing it along with me. I really enjoyed writing it, and I'm just so excited to be able to share it with all of you, and I hope that it's inspired you to live your best reading life. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.